Hey everyone, this is Kieran. Today's exercise is looking at a seated knee extension. So it's an exercise that's going to develop your quadricep muscles, and it's those muscles on the front of your thigh. Really important with most knee injuries to regain some strength and size here, particularly also with some chronic knee pain pathologies like osteoarthritis. So if you've been looking for some guidance on this type of exercise, then give this video a watch. Now everyone's setup is going to be a little different at their gym. Some might have a sort of combined machine like this, or they might have like a dedicated machine to this type of exercise. All good options. As far as setup goes though, you're trying to look for something that, this one's got a bit of a pivoting arm, but some of them you might have to set the height to. So you kind of want it just above your ankle, down the bottom of your shin there. And then you're going to straighten your knees out like this. Now, something about this exercise which you want to consider is not just what can you do with two legs, but what can you also do with one leg. And the reason that's important is because after a knee injury, you want to try and get some symmetry back. And we know that in most populations, particularly sporting populations, you're going to see the uninjured side be less than the injured side in this ability, right? And you want to try and get it back to at least 90% or within 90%, but ideally within 95% difference. That's that peak force, or that ability to create maximum strength, but then also what is your ability to, say, do a 10 rep max test. And so this is a nice way that I like to do it when you've got this kind of machine. Now, if you had a muscle test, you could get some peak values, but that doesn't necessarily take into account like the functional capacity. How long can those muscles last? So, good way to start out is doing 10 reps with no weight, and then start laddering up the weight as you go. And then you stop at the point that you can't do 10 reps anymore. I think that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So I've gotten 10 reps on my left side, and I'd expect to be able to also get 10 reps on this side. If I got 9 reps, then I know I'd be at 90%, right? Or within 90%. If I couldn't get that 10th rep, I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. But if I did less than that, then I'd want to be trying to even that up over time. Now, you might get up to, say, 20 reps. But instead of continuing to increase the reps, as I said before, once you hit 10, keep going, increasing the weight until you can't hit 10 anymore. So I just lost count, but it gives you an idea of maybe how you can structure this and figure out, oh, is there a difference side to side? It's going to develop these guys here, all right? Now, one of the considerations that some people get concerned about, particularly after ACL surgeries, is when do I start this exercise? And actually, when you look at research that combines an open kinetic chain exercise, so open means my foot's not touching something stable, versus a closed kinetic chain exercise where my foot is touching something stable. So let's say like a squat, a deadlift, a lunge, things like that. When you combine them, you get better outcomes in the long term. At least that's what these studies that I'm referencing show. And that actually, it's not too bad to start the open kinetic chain stuff reasonably early in the rehab. In the past, they usually sort of keep it paused until about 12 weeks after surgery. But the studies are showing that the strain on the graft is actually quite minimal. Now, if you wanted to get into this, but you're still feeling a bit cautious, the strain really doesn't pick up until you're past halfway. So if we say that's 90 degrees for my knee, and I go to 45 degrees, that's a pretty safe zone to be in, regardless of the situation you're in. When you get up into here, it's not necessarily that it's unsafe, but it does put more strain on the graft. Now, I don't know of any studies that actually show that that causes an ACL injury, particularly after a graft, where maybe the connections of that new ligament to the bone aren't as robust yet. That takes time, 9 to 12 months. But it's an area where there's more strain. So it'd be something that you consider, right? But ultimately, let pain be your guide. Let your, the person running your rehab be your guide. If you're using this exercise for other reasons, then look for a sense of fatigue in these muscles. If you have anterior knee pain or patellofemoral joint pain, you might find that this is a bit of an aggravating exercise. There's other options, maybe like a wall squat or things where you've got a lunge where your knee isn't going past your toe as much. Not that that's bad, but it might be an option for you until you desensitize the knee. Ultimately though, it's a nice supplementary exercise for any lower leg workout, and over time you'd want to try and make sure there's some symmetry. So hope you guys found that helpful. If you've got any questions, please ask below. If you like this video, then please hit like below. Otherwise, to check out more of our content in the future, you can subscribe to our channel by clicking our logo over here. And to check out our latest video, click up here.